Yalimilad, hello. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on pathways to careers in tech. My name is Marian Kapadia, and I'm delighted to be a part of this webinar, not just for professional reasons as I work at NPower Canada, but also for personal reasons in that I've seen the direct impact that the program has had on graduates and their families' lives in the Jamaat. With me today, I have some of the NPower family members. The first one I'm going to introduce you to is Andrew Redden. He is our Chief Development Officer. Andrew, please take it away.
Thank you, Maureen, and thank you, everyone. It's a real pleasure and honor to be part of this webinar today and to share more information about NPower Canada, our no-cost IT skills training and job placement program for Opportunity Youth across Canada, and to speak to all of you around launching a pathway into an IT career more broadly within IT STEM. And so NPower Canada is a registered charity founded in late 2014 that launches low-income youth from diverse backgrounds ages 18 to 29 into meaningful IT careers. And we do this by providing youth with no-cost technical and professional skills training to equip youth for a wide range of IT career pathways, placing them into roles ranging from help desk analyst to junior developer to service technician, and equipping youth with industry certifications to really help equip youth with that competitive advantage once they transition from training into employment. And so once the youth enrolled in our program complete the 15-week skills training phase, we then work to connect them with our employer partners, placing them into employment and continuing to provide them with alumni services, such as access to continued education, ongoing job placement, retention, and networking support for 5 years post-program.
Thanks, Andrew. When I was preparing for this webinar, I came across this speech through the II Canada app. It was one of the Daily Diamonds, so I'll just read it out. So it was a speech delivered by His Highness the Aga Khan on the excellence in education at the Aga Khan Academies in 2003. And I quote, "In the face of the most rapid advances in technology in history, education also must teach students how to master information technologies. These skills now form a critical part of the learning process, as well as essential qualifications for applications in the workplace."
So NPower Canada's vision definitely aligns very closely with that impactful quote that Maureen just shared, and really the inspiring piece around creating inclusion for all. And so our vision is also to work together to develop a future where our technology workforce is diverse and inclusive, and clear pathways do exist for all people to succeed in our digital economy. We're very proud of our outcomes at NPower Canada, where more than 80% of our graduates have secured employment or enrolled in higher education within 12 months of completing the NPower Canada program. And shortly, we will hear from 2 of those amazing graduates. Before we transition to that part of our program, we'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge the very generous organizations that support the NPower Canada program through making donations. And so this ranges from the Government of Alberta and the Government of Canada on the public sector side to private sector organizations and employers like RBC, CIBC, and Accenture. And speaking of employment, not only do many of these companies provide generous donations to our program, they also employ NPower Canada graduates. So those 3 companies I just mentioned, CIBC, Accenture, and RBC, have each hired more than 60 NPower Canada graduates.
Thanks, Andrew. I also need to make mention that I am based in Calgary, Alberta, and I would just love to point out the funders who are supporting the NPower program here in Calgary. So Andrew made mention of the Government of Alberta. We've also got the City of Calgary, the Calgary Foundation, and United Way of Calgary and Area. And two direct recipients and beneficiaries of that funding are here with us today, as Andrew mentioned. So we have Eliza and Arash. Eliza, can you please introduce yourself and be sure to include a fun fact?
Hi everyone, and Yali Madad. My name is Eliza, and I was part of the first cohort in Calgary. I have been working at Longview Systems for the past year almost, and during the program, I completed my CompTIA Plus certificate and Cisco IT Essentials. Fun fact about me is I'm a crafter, so I love making different little crafts.
Awesome, thank you. Arash?
Hi everyone, Yali Madad. As you all know, I was a part of Empower Canada, and I started Empower like 4 months ago, and it was a really great experience because I really love technology, and it really interests me to go and apply for it. And during the cohort, I learned a lot of stuff, and especially I had a little bit background with technology as a graphic designer, and so you only not just learn technical skills, but also you will learn a lot of professional skills that how you can approach and apply for jobs. So yeah, overall it was a really good experience for me. And also as a fun fact, beside my technical background, I do a lot of graphic designing as a freelancer. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So I'll just start with one of the first questions that I get as the outreach and engagement specialist when I'm making my presentations in the community. The first question I often get is, do I need a technical background? Like, I don't know anything about tech. Is this program for me? So I will start with you, Eliza, if you can comment on that, because I know that this was sort of your story.
Right. When I started, I was not sure about the program. I wasn't sure if I'll be able to learn all the facts, remember everything. But technology is so wide, you can go into any field. Every company is using it now. We are using it now all the time in our daily lives. And once you've learned those fundamentals and those basic steps, you start learning everything. It becomes all easier.
Great. Arash, I know you mentioned that you had a little bit of a technical background. So was the program maybe a little bit easier for you, or can you expand on?
It does make it a little bit easier, but it was nothing to do with. It was kind of a little bit different because my technical background was in a different niche, and it was more of a computer repair and mobile repair stuff, and this was more of a on a software side as well as a little bit hardware, and it is also the basics of hardware. And anyone would join Empower, they wouldn't have any issue with learning of this, like at this course. Basically, they wouldn't have any issue.
Awesome. And Andrew, I guess I'll turn to you with regards to examples of being in tech that don't require that aren't tech heavy roles. If you could speak to that, maybe.
Right, absolutely, yes. I think to echo what our graduates have shared, there are junior level roles within technology that you don't have to have a 4-year degree from a major post-secondary institution to qualify for or to compete for. And I think that when youth in our communities hear IT, sometimes it can sound overwhelming or intimidating. Often people might assume, oh, you have to be a coder, or it must be super technical and hard to wrap your head around. But actually, when we're able to speak with youth in really clear ways around the types of jobs that we train for, then we see the light bulbs go off, and we can get youth excited about the fact that there actually is an IT career pathway for virtually anyone, for folks who really enjoy working with people and helping people solve problems, and like the fact that every day can be completely different. Working as a help desk analyst can be a great career pathway because it's so client facing, you're helping people solve all kinds of different problems throughout the day, and you interact with all different personality types, and it can be really engaging and rewarding work. And there are opportunities for progression to service coordinator, service manager roles for some folks who maybe aren't as keen on a high volume customer service role. For some of our young people who are more hands-on learners, upskilling through our program to become a field service technician or a network technician. It can also be a really great career pathway, super hands-on kind of job, also really dynamic. And our graduates have, since completing our program, have taken certifications like the CCNA, for example, to get even deeper into the networking space, and have become lab managers at Cisco, and have also pursued their own ladders. And then for some of our youth who are more into that creative design type space, a web and mobile app can also be a really interesting pathway. And again, you don't necessarily have to have a ton of background in that space to really grasp some of the fundamental skills quickly. So I think it's definitely our core message at Empower Canada is that these IT career pathways are far more accessible than they may first seem. And IT can really be an opportunity for folks with very different learning styles who succeed in a wide variety of environments. So there are a lot of exciting possibilities.
For sure. We can definitely see the possibilities that technology has created for us during these COVID times. I think it's very apparent. I know that for sure, because I work at Empower, that Empower is thinking of their graduates. And so just recently, announced the Empower Alumni Education Program, which offers alumni a chance to further their knowledge within the tech space, of course, at no cost to the alumni. And I know that one of the reasons behind this, Andrew, and you can for sure please step in, was to ensure that because of the COVID times, because, companies aren't necessarily hiring as at the rate that they were before, for alumni to get this chance to educate themselves, it's kind of giving them a cutting edge so that when the economy does recover, they're, kind of in front of mind for employers because of these skills that they're coming out of COVID times with. So Absolutely. I don't know if you want to speak to that or, yeah.
Totally. Yes. No, that's exactly right. I mean, that really is the impetus for these programs, is to, given our challenging climate, to be able to further upskill our youth with in-demand skills that we hear from employers are particularly in demand during these times. So our two alumni programs, one focused on cloud, and being able to do a deeper dive into cloud, be able to deploy, troubleshoot, configure cloud solutions, building on some of the fundamental cloud skills already included in our core program, seems to be so key right now, as so many of our employer partners are having to migrate more of their operations to the cloud themselves, and also grappling with the realities of deploying their own workforces remotely as well. And then the second program, Automation with Python, also speaks to the fact that in these COVID times, when it is really difficult to be able to provide services in person, there is a move towards automating more service processes. So being able to equip our graduates not only to provide technical support themselves, but to be able to write the actual chatbots that provide now that first level of support, helps our graduates to stay relevant, helps them advance so that their roles don't become at risk of becoming obsolete. And so really ensuring that our graduates become and remain competitive, as automation and digitization only seem to be accelerating since the onset of the pandemic.
And so then to just speak to how COVID has affected, I guess, technology and our lives, Eliza, like where I'm heading with this is, Eliza, can you speak to how, COVID has impacted you and your role at Longview Systems?
So ever since pandemic happened, we've all shifted to a remote work from home model. Having us support people that started to work from home, that caused a major shift. I do see that a lot more companies are considering to stay in this sort of role or build their groups so they can support their employees to work safely in a productive environment.
Thanks. Anurash, have you experienced
Yeah,
anything?
for me personally, right away, my first job that I got from Empower, it was work from home. It was Concentrix. So it was a tech support job. And actually, I'm still with that job, you're supposed to work like provide tech support over the phone. And it was completely nothing. We were not supposed to go outside. So it was from home. So yeah, it makes it easier.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that that's one of the unique components or one of the unique factors of the tech space, because that we were all able to pivot and that the technology is giving us the ability to work from home, to kind of carry on with, business in the new normal. I'm not sure that many industries can cope, and I think we're seeing that with regards to what's happening in the economy, but that's not what this webinar is about. All right, so the next question. So there are a lot of people who, maybe have gone to university and they've studied something and they are thinking that, that is what, where their career is going to take them, or that they're looking for a job within what it is that they studied. But there are a lot of people who are also working and are looking to transition. So I'll start with you, Andrew, that there are a lot of people in the midst of their career or already on a different career path who then decide they want to make a switch into tech. So what advice would you have for those people?
That's a great question. I think there are a lot of sort of services or sources of information that folks can access. So if someone is in university or has graduated, certainly working with their Alumni Career Center to enroll in career exploration workshops, do some aptitude assessments around their transferable skills. So going back to earlier in our conversation, talking about how folks don't need to necessarily have an extensive IT background to pursue one of these career pathways. Really getting to know ourselves and our strengths can help identify what might be those transferable skills that could be particularly relevant or aligned with a specific pathway. So someone who does really enjoy working with others, who does have strong problem-solving skills, that help desk piece could be a really interesting avenue to further explore. There are also great websites like workingincanada.gc.ca that provide up-to-date labor market information around what are the IT hiring trends and what jobs are predicted to be sort of in demand. There's also a great organization called the Information Communications Technology Council of Canada, a bit of a mouthful, but their ICTC is the acronym. And if folks Google that, they have a lot of great labor market reports as well, also by province. So there's great intel around in Alberta, for example. What are the in-demand IT careers now and forecasted to be in demand over the next 5 years? What are some of the core skill sets that are required to be successful or to get your foot in the door for some of those types of career pathways? And also a bit more Calgary specific, Calgary Economic Development on their website also publishes some really great, pretty detailed research about IT pathways. But honestly, I think above and beyond all the online research and accessing services, just talking with people is, I think, often the best bet. So connecting with folks over LinkedIn or in one's own networks to sort of just say, I'm working in this field, or I've just completed studies in this area, but I've for a little while had a curiosity about IT, and I find the work that you do really inspiring, and may I have I guess these days, virtual coffee with you for 20 minutes just to ask you a few questions and gain your insight around what you really enjoy about the work that you do and what it took you to be successful and get your foot in the door for this kind of career. Often, I think just conducting those informal informational interviews, not only do folks get more insight into whether that pathway might be right for them, but then they're also building their professional network at the same time.
Awesome, thanks. Elisa, what advice would you give to someone who is looking to switch into tech from, I don't know, I guess I just would like you to speak to sort of how you ended up switching, if you're okay with sharing kind of what you had pursued maybe before and where you were thinking of going and how you ended up in tech. And advice that you'd give.
Okay. So what I like about tech is it's constantly changing. There's constantly updates. There's new software, new products, always something to learn, always something to explore. It's never the same day twice. I love that challenge of it, and that is something that talks to me. But what I would give as an advice to someone who wants to go into IT is that it is a field that is everywhere. It is going to become even more prevalent now with the digital transformations, and that it, like any career, you need to be dedicated and need to put in your time and effort. But you can succeed and you will succeed. And entry-level positions their certifications don't take too much of a time commitment in an education standpoint in comparison to going into another field that's completely new to you.
Awesome. Thanks. Arash, what advice would you give to someone?
Personally, I would say at the beginning, when you start working in a tech or learning about technology, it can be a little bit overwhelming for a person who has not been in a tech environment or not really a tech nerd. What I would recommend them to start from here, because the future of technology can be a little bit tough for a lot of different fields, because the future can be autonomous. And I would say this is the first step to start from. And nobody should be scared of technology, because it's changing all the time. But I would say, start from here.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to actually start with you. That was an awesome segue. So you've come through the program, you're a graduate, you're an alumni now, and you've got a job. And so now what tips would you give to someone to succeed in the workplace? Oh, sorry, Arash, I was asking you. Sorry, my bad. Maybe I didn't make that clear because I was just trying to segue from what you said. Sorry.
So a good tip would be, as much building your networks, like Andrew mentioned. On top of that, your technical skill is one of the priority that you want to learn, and you want to work hard on that part. But if you don't have any social network connecting with people in the same field, making mentors and asking them questions in the field, and they will definitely help you for the upcoming technology. Also, you can make your own social group, so that will help a lot. And when it comes to work, I would definitely recommend that you be as professional and ask questions when you have you're stuck in a difficult situation. Definitely people are nice and they will help you, I would say.
Thank you. Aliza?
What I would say is your attitude. Always put your best foot forward, always be dedicated and hardworking, and always follow best practice in everything you do.
Awesome. Andrew, anything to add to that?
I think that's excellent advice. Thank you to the two of you for sharing that. And I would also echo what both of you have shared around the attitude, bringing that positive attitude to work every day. And also, Arash, what you mentioned about asking questions and asking for help. That is feedback that we get sometimes from employers, that sometimes when people first join a company, they may be shy or hesitant to ask for help because they may be reluctant to perhaps give the impression that they don't know something. But what we hear from our supervisors of our graduates so often is that they love questions, and actually they're worried when people don't ask questions because they may be making assumptions about how to do something. And in fact, it's so important to be open in one's communication, to admit what we don't know, and to ask for help. And often employers actually see that as a sign that someone is conscientious, that they're taking initiative. So I think that the advice both of you gave was wonderful.
Awesome. Aliza, I want to go back to something you mentioned. You mentioned that one of the things you like about tech and that you enjoy is the daily challenge of it always changing. You also talked about the digital transformation that we are undergoing and we're in the midst of. And so I want to ask you, how should individuals think about their career trajectories in the tech industry? what possibilities are there? Like, what have you seen? And, you've come through the program. It's been a year now. Yeah, you can share some your insights.
I think possibilities are limitless. You can go to any sector you want. You want to go to cybersecurity, network administration, you want to handle servers, you want to be more hands-on and be in a position. You can go anywhere. Just you need to take that first step and then start moving towards where you want to get.
Okay. Arash?
So yeah, IT, I think it is in every industry. Like everywhere you will see some kind of technology connected with different sectors. What I would say is choose a path that you would love to work in. Like, for example, if you're in the health industry, definitely you would choose to go there. But you have to set a goal, through which IT certification, which platform do you want to go and continue your studies. So yeah, that would be a good way to go on.
Great. And Andrew, anything to add to that?
Again, I would echo those great comments, and also perhaps share that some of our graduates have also found during the course of their career that unanticipated opportunities come up, and they end up making another pivot based on what they learn on the job. So, for example, some of our graduates who have begun their careers after Empower, just getting placed into their first job as help desk analysts, have found that evaluating the metrics like call handling time, issue resolution, that there's a quality assurance and data analytics component to that role. And a few of our graduates have actually transitioned from being on the front lines of help desk to either being in a learning and development role on their team or in a more QA focused role. Similarly, or in somewhat analogous terms, some of our graduates who have started as QA analysts or as junior developers with some of our partners like Accenture or TD Bank find that along with the technical aspect of the work, what really drives them is more of the project management piece, kind of liaising with their colleagues, ensuring that everyone is on task, providing support to their senior team, and actually transition into more project control officer or business analyst roles that are more at the intersection of business and technology. So I think we've really seen some exciting developments in our graduates' careers over the longer term, where they really go where their passion takes them. And as they begin to become exposed to more elements of the businesses for which they work, as they begin to take on new responsibilities, sometimes they find themselves on kind of an unanticipated but really exciting path.
Awesome. Thanks for that. One thing that's been mentioned, Andrew, you've mentioned it, Elisa's mentioned it, Arash has mentioned it, are the certifications that you receive through the program. And so I have a question, which is, how do the employers value these credentials? So I guess we can start with you, Andrew, and then we'll speak to, ask the others.
Sure. Well, Empower Canada has an industry council that convenes on a bi-monthly basis, and that's comprised of several employers who hire graduates from our program, but also provide us with some insight and feedback into how our curriculum needs to evolve with changing industry demand. And so often those employers have encouraged us to incorporate specific certifications into our programs that really align with how their hiring needs and skills requirements are evolving, and also give our graduates more credibility as they transition from training into employment, really demonstrating that that they have this credential, but even more so, and this is also what we hear from employers, just the grit and determination and focus it takes to earn one of the certifications that our graduates today have earned speaks a lot to their character and to their ability to accomplish goals. And that in and of itself is in some ways even more important than the content of the certification itself. But certainly for the programs that we've designed in conjunction with employers and incorporating their insights, some of the certifications, certainly all of them that we now offer, do tie into the types of skills that employers need and also expect candidates to be able to demonstrate, when they apply through a hiring process, and when they begin working. So the Google IT support professional and the CompTIA A+, both very equivalent types of certifications that our graduates have attained to really grasp the fundamentals of IT software, hardware, service management, and the Cisco IT essentials, are really great credentials that help validate to employers that our graduates are skilled for these roles. They're ready to hit the ground running. And then similarly, for our information security program, we also deliver the CompTIA Security Plus. So just having that initial validation from employers, I think really helps our graduates put themselves forward with more confidence and increases their chances of success in the hiring process.
Aliza, Arash, do either of you have anything to add or to speak to your journey in getting your certification? And if your employers maybe highlighted the fact that because you had that certification, you were sort of like their lead contender, or just, yeah, anything to add?
I think personally, yes, it really did help, because the job that I got, the first one, it was mostly technical based job, which you need to have technical knowledge. And this credential, the certificate, really helped me gaining those information and knowledge that I had to implement that with my work. So it did really help. That's why I was hired at my job. So yes, it does help.
Awesome, thanks. Aliza?
I will also echo what Andrew and Arash said earlier, that they are industry-wide recognized, they're globally recognized, a lot of these certificates. So when I did start working, it was an asset to me, because knowing all of these skills and having learned all the fundamentals, it helped me get started my role running and start progressing in that direction.
Awesome. And I feel, Aliza, just in conversations that you and I have had, that potentially looking at gaining more certifications, or is that something? Or I guess I'll put it out to both of you: is that something that getting this first certification through NPower, are you inspired to get more certification, to learn more within tech, to grow your career within tech?
Of course, it's a lifelong journey, education. It's not going to stop here, and that's what I love about IT, that it keeps developing and I can keep learning more and more. I did recently get my Azure Fundamental certification, and I am currently looking into more cloud subjects right now in the short term. Long term, I'm also looking into some other options over there to grow my skills.
Awesome, and congrats. Arash, how about you?
Yes, I do have plans, but like usually these certifications expires after long 4 or 5 years, because it's updating the software and the platforms of these technologies updates. So they also update their certificate. So students must upgrade their knowledge as well from time to time. So I have planned to upgrade my certificate as well. I'm thinking to go towards AWS, which is a like cloud based system from Amazon. So yeah, that's my future goal. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Andrew, I have a question specifically for you. What if you're an international student or an immigrant? Are there any differences with what you can take advantage of, and or what would be required of you?
That's a great question. I think, unfortunately, there are systemic barriers that new Canadians can face, certainly when applying for employment without local experience. There are, unfortunately, some employers who still do have a limited view of, requiring local experience before being able to provide someone with an opportunity, and also lacking a local professional network, so lacking professional contacts within Canada to obtain warm referrals and references for opportunities can also be a significant barrier. Certainly the recommendations that we provide to newcomer youth, and really would be relevant to newcomers of all ages, is to consider a program like ours, where there are opportunities for work-based experiential learning, and that not only is our curriculum designed with input from employers, but we also involve employers as guest speakers or participants in speed networking events and other activities within the program to help our youth, including our newcomer youth, really strengthen and practice their professional communication skills, building their confidence in that area. Also, for folks considering post-secondary programs, would strongly encourage everyone, but I think particularly new Canadians who often face these systemic barriers and often very limited employer perceptions about experience, going for a co-op program can be hugely helpful in terms of gaining that local experience and also building more of a Canadian professional network. So I would encourage youth interested in all different types of IT STEM skills building opportunities, whether it's our program, whether it's a post-secondary program, to really prioritize programs that do provide some work-based experiential learning, whether that's part of the design of the program, whether that's a co-op placement, whether it's direct connections to employers like we provide through Empower. I think those are really key pieces and key supports that can help youth navigate through some of those systemic barriers.
Okay, great. I know earlier, Andrew, you had shared a few resources with us. You had mentioned like ICTC, and I'm sorry, I don't remember all of the ones you had mentioned. And they were resources for people to kind of do some research and figure out maybe where in the tech space, they might see themselves, or just even to learn about all the options within tech. So just kind of along those same lines, for those who are looking to get certified or credentialed in a particular technical skill, are there any other avenues or resources that they can avail of if they're not, of course, applying to us and coming through our program and getting certified with us?
Absolutely. There are definitely industry associations and credentialing bodies like the CompTIA association that governs and administers some of the certifications that we offer, like the A+ and the Security Plus. As Eliza noted, those are globally recognized industry certifications that do really hold value with employers. And also, there are innovative initiatives like Google's Nano Degree program, where rather than having to enroll in an expensive 4-year post-secondary program, there's really targeted kind of micro credentialing where learners can, for a much more affordable price and shorter time frame, earn, for example, a nano degree in Android development or in one of the cloud programs that we've sort of talked about. I mean, for Google, that would be Google's cloud platform for sure, but also Microsoft. Microsoft is another partner of Empower Canada. They've recently launched a global skills initiative, which also provides very rapid and, again, industry vetted certification tracks and really interesting pathways to become equipped with in-demand IT skills. And just circling back a bit to support for newcomers too, Empower Canada works with such a great range of organizations dedicated to supporting new Canadians, like in Calgary, the Calgary Immigrant Women's Association, the Center for Newcomers, Calgary Immigrant Services. We work with similar partners in the GTA and in Halifax. So would really also encourage newcomer youth and newcomers of all ages to access those services, because there can be great referrals to housing, income supports, and other supports that are so important in terms of being able to meet basic needs and grapple with the socioeconomic challenges that many newcomers also face.
Definitely. As well, in our community, we have an access line that has been that's set up to support individuals looking for all kinds of support. But I know that the access line is something that is promoted within our community, within the Somali community as well, to sort of connect people with some of those resources you mentioned locally here in Calgary. Eliza, Arash, do you guys have any resources that you have come upon that you want to share, of where people can kind of, like, if they want to learn or they want to kind of get an introduction to tech? I know Andrew covered a lot of them, but just wondering if you know of any other resources that haven't been covered.
Yeah, there are some other platforms too, which you can use it. Like, for example, one of them is LinkedIn Learning. If you're in Calgary, they have the option of getting your library card, and you can access to their LinkedIn Learning platform, which is for free for a year. I think it's free for Calgarians for forever, as much as I've come to know. And it's really good place to learn a lot of new stuff, and it's really really, really well explained courses over there. And that would be a good start for anyone to learn new skills.
Awesome. And were you talking about free with regards to the library card or the access to the LinkedIn?
I think LinkedIn Learning, actually it is lynda.com, which has a free, like you can get free access to it with your library card, with Calgary library card. Yeah.
And the library cards are free for sure.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Thank you. Aliza?
Yeah, so I was going to mention Lynda as well. I think it's also free for Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. And also there's a lot of online communities that there are videos, there are resources that you can go through and read and ask questions to people when you're trying to learn new skills and have questions.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So do you guys have anything that you would like to share that has not been covered through a question? Anything that you think is important for people to know or for people to consider if they are, just if you were to put yourself in the viewer's shoes, something you'd want to hear. So kind of like advice you'd be giving yourself back in the future. Just about if you're considering tech, if you have any questions, I don't know, just any kind of like last words that you'd like to share. If you don't, it's all good. I just
take the chance. If you are considering it, take the chance. It will be worth it. You will be able to do it. I know it seems scary in the beginning, a new path, and new terms, something, it looks too nerdy or too geeky. Well, that's not the case, and things change and things develop, and you will be able to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say one of the big factors is to have the drive to learn new stuff, especially with technology, because it updates all the time. And if you have that drive, you will definitely succeed in your career in the IT field. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'd like to thank both you, Aliza and Arash, for sharing your pathway to your career in tech with us. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Really appreciate it. Again, congratulations, Aliza, for you for getting the Azure certification. Arash, all the best to you. You're working. I'm happy for you. I hope your future in tech is glorious and never ending.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting us.
Of course. Thank you. Now let's chat about how you, our viewers, although this is not a TV show, but you, the rest of you can get involved and join our program and hopefully have similar success stories like Arash and Aliza. So this screen that Andrew has put up, thank you so much, Andrew, speaks to the eligibility criteria for how NPower decides who can kind of get into the program. So we are looking for young adults between the ages of 18 to 29. We are looking for you to have a high school education at minimum, whether that education was acquired within North America or abroad. We just need you to have a high school education. You need to be able to legally work in Canada. We are looking for a CLB of 7 or 8. And of course, our program is for those young adults who are facing financial challenges and barriers to employment. To expound on the CLB is the Canadian Language Benchmark, and we are looking for a 7 or 8 in speaking, listening, reading, and writing. There is a pre-assessment that is sent out to you upon successful completion of your application with no missing information. The next step is you will be sent a pre-assessment. This pre-assessment is not a test. It's basically there to determine which program is the best fit for you. So we have a few programs and we just want to know which program is the right fit. Our junior IT analyst program does not require any technical background or knowledge. Our junior data analyst program, which we'll be introducing in January, which will be starting in January, as well as our junior security quality assurance program, does require some technical background and knowledge. And so this pre-assessment simply just gauges your knowledge and where you fit. Of course, applications are strongly encouraged from members of equity-seeking groups. And we always love to see ready, willing, eager, able people applying, just like Arash and Aliza, where you have this like hunger for knowledge and growth, and we love applicants from people like that. And of course, you cannot be in full-time school or work when applying for a program. Our program runs from 8:45 a.m. to 1 p.m., both here in Calgary and in GTA. Of course, I'm not putting the time difference, but just those are the program timings. So our program is 20 hours a week. Outside of that time, there will be times when you need to meet with colleagues. There is group work. And of course, you need to study and review and so on. And so our program time does not allow for someone to work and to be successful in the program. So if someone's working full time, you cannot be successful in our program. And of course, if you're working, then this, our program might not be for you at this point in time. Our next intake is January 25th, 21. We have 3 intakes in a year, January, May, and September. So our next program will be starting January 25th, 2021. How do you apply? You can visit our website at empowercanada.ca/apply. There's an apply tab, a drop-down menu will come down, and our programs are listed out. So you'll see the junior IT analyst, the junior data analyst, junior security quality assurance program, and you can figure out which program is the right fit for you. Once you complete your application, if you meet all the criteria, you'll be invited for an interview. And before that step, the pre-assessment will be sent out, and then you'll be invited for an interview. And after the interview, you'll be advised the rest of the details with regards to the next steps in the application process. This is my contact information. That's my cell phone number. Please feel free to reach out to me, email me, call me, text me. I have also asked if Arash and Eliza would be willing to speak. If someone wants to connect with them, please connect with me and I will put you in touch with them. And also, please follow us on all the socials. We update our intakes and when our cohorts are starting. We also have information sessions where you can come and learn more about our program. You can speak to alumni of the program. So we post all that up on our socials. So please follow us. Thank you once again to Eliza, Arash, and Andrew for joining me. Thank you all out there for watching. And please, apply. This program can change your life. I've seen it firsthand. Our participants have also experienced it, our graduates and participants in our webinar have hopefully attested to that. And just apply now.
Thank you, everyone. It's been such an honor to participate in this webinar, and just would echo Maureen, please, as Elisa so eloquently said, take the chance, dive in, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
Thank you.